$5 last night from.
Good morning, everybody. We're live on Facebook, not on the radio, but we are live on
So
Facebook.
plug in.
Okay, good to know.
It's funny.
Like,
Just-
oh.
I know. Did you finally got an Uber though?
Yeah, this morning, quadruple the cost, but I'm here.
I'm sure you did.
It's great. Super excited.
That's all right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 425 Show, your place to be for all things real estate and lifestyle related here on the East Side. Happy Tuesday. It's snowy out there. How's everybody doing? We all survived. It's a beautiful day. I embraced the snow yesterday. We decided not to go anywhere. I made soup. We made popcorn. We watched movies. It was great. But now I'm ready to move on. So we'll see what that does for real estate this week. It looks like it's supposed to clear up, so we'll see what the weather gods decide to do. But we should get some good listings on towards the end of the week. So stay tuned. The market seems like it's been hot, though. There's definitely a lot of activity. But regardless, January is one of my favorite months, snow or not, to start planning my vacations for the year. Because as much as I love life in the 425, I love to travel. If you follow me at all on social media, you can always follow me, Nicole Mangina, on Instagram and Facebook. We are a big believer in experiences versus stuff with our kids. So we do try to get out and travel and do different things. So our guest today, Angela Adto.
Angela Adto.
Adto. I always say your
No.
name wrong.
Well, I'm
so
super
sorry.
happy to be here.
I've known you for years and I goof that up every time. Angela Adto.
Yeah.
With AZA Travel is joining us today.
Thanks.
So welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for braving the weather and the roads to
Yeah.
make it into the studio.
I know, I can't believe it. Of all the times I come back to Seattle, it's snow, 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 snow.
I know.
I can't believe it. But it's really beautiful and
It's great.
really nice to be back.
Yes, I know. You lived here for years. You don't live here now, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
you're back.
graduated from UW.
Yeah.
Raised my boys, took them all, home from the hospital here. So this
Yeah,
is
you have
this is
ties
very
to the
much home.
Northwest.
Yeah, this was home. Yeah.
There you go. Absolutely. Cool. Well, tell us about your travel company
Oh,
and what you do.
oh, sure, absolutely, love to. So it actually started. So AZA
Mhm.
actually means in Sanskrit it means space.
Okay.
And in Swahili it means reflection, and in Hebrew it means strength, and Arabic it means comfort. So these were all characteristics that I would hope to instill in
Mhm.
people's experiences when it came to planning their travels. And it actually all started by, I was leading yoga retreats,
Mm-hmm.
and that just sort of parlayed into something a bit more, and I began planning travel across the board along with leading the yoga retreats. So
Mhm.
two passions of mine. So I was able to combine the yoga and combine my love of travel, and so I get to do it all.
I love it, and you are a beautiful master at it. I have been to your retreats that are always in really wonderful and delightful locations. And I know you have one coming up that we'll talk about on the show.
Okay.
And then you plan amazing trips as well. In
Oh,
fact, we
thank
just
you.
got back from our Ireland trip that you helped us plan, and it was magical.
Well, I'm so glad. It is, for me. It's such I'm so proud to be
Mhm.
able to help you in the process of planning, because basically you come to me and you're like, this is what we like and this is
Mhm.
what we want to do. So being able to understand what your needs, your likes and dislikes
Mhm.
is really important. But I mean, just to be involved in that process, because I think you're dealing with two really important things: people's free time
Mhm.
and their finances. And so I'm just so glad that you guys enjoyed your trip and had a good time. So yeah, super, super happy to be part of the process. So thank you for entrusting me.
Oh my
with that.
goodness. Trust me, we will not do any other trip without you from here on
Yeah.
out because it was spectacular.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I think it'd be great to talk about, it's funny, when we were planning our trip and people said, oh, how are you putting it together? I said, oh, I'm working with Angela and she's helping us. And a number of people, the whole kind of old school travel agent, people think, oh, that's gone, but really it's so different now.
No, it's actually changed quite a bit. So I think it depends on, especially living here in the Northwest, we've got, some of the IT companies, and we have Amazon and Expedia, and we had a Google campus in Kirkland, and we have Microsoft and all that. But it's almost, I feel like our time was the do-it-yourself time. Like, we can book it ourselves. We can research it ourselves. But what has happened is that as we've been inundated with so much information, and there's so much out there to search.
It's overwhelming.
You can start looking at, let's say, I want to go to Thailand, and before you know, 4 hours later, you've gone down the rabbit hole, and you're still like, where do I begin? So the travel industry is booming, and travel advisors are well sought after.
Sure.
One, for their expertise and knowledge and to help guide you, but really to cut through all that noise that is out there. And the company that I'm with, we're affiliated with Virtuoso, and so there's a lot of properties that are vetted for. Not to say that properties that aren't with Virtuoso aren't great, but we also work with those companies as well.
Sure.
But we know the ones that are going to take really good care of our clients. So that's really important, because there's so much out there.
There's
so much.
And especially when you're going someplace, like we had never been to Ireland before, so we didn't have any frame of reference.
Right.
So it was really helpful to be able to talk through different things with you. And to me, there's also value. I got so much out of just talking through you, and I would realize different things about how we travel as a family.
And I got to learn that. So that's why I'm thankful, because it's really fun. Sometimes I learn as much from my clients as they might from me. And it's just kind of a really personal process. And some of the clients that I've had for a while now, it's easy. It's very simpatico. And it's fun. We bounce ideas off of each other, and we come up with the perfect itinerary for, each family, each couple, each person, whatever it is their needs are. So
and that's great. You're very adept at kind of navigating that and adjusting, because I know even for us in our just one trip, there were certain parts of the trip where it was all about luxury. Like, we want to stay in a really nice hotel. It doesn't really matter if it's close to anything. We just want to go for it, kind of thing. And you found us the most amazing place of all time.
I remember you saying, we want kind of like, that castle experience. I was like, I got the castle for you.
Yeah, and did you ever? It was amazing.
So that was great.
But there were other parts of the trip where it was really about investigating a specific area. So, it was, really it's more about the location. Luxury is secondary to location in this aspect for what we wanted. And to be able to talk through that and realize, this is the part where we need structure, we need a tour, or here or there, and and here's where we need free time, and just based on our family dynamics.
And it was nice because your trip was very multifaceted, because you had elements, all sorts of different things happening. You had the luxury, but then you had kind of the fun, rugged, like tours and experiencing the land. And you guys drove.
We did.
So that, what an amazing way to see the countryside.
It was great.
That was wonderful.
Yeah. It was great, but even that, what I realized is to get from one place to another, it was really helpful to drive, because then we didn't feel like we were on anybody else's time frame, right?
Exactly.
We could free flow that, but when there were times when we really wanted to get out and see things, then we had a driver for those. Because then, first, after having done it, I guarantee we would have missed 90%. We would have driven right by it. Like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, you save a bit of time, too, so that you can see a bit more, because you have someone who, you have the driver that knows where they're going.
Yeah, for sure.
And then sometimes it is fun to get a little lost, but,
It's not always that fun.
That's funny. I just picture you guys in the car, and Gary, like, well,
Yeah, it was way better with a driver for that part of it. But that was a learning experience, and that was great.
And that's part of the process. It's all fun. It's an education.
It is. And it's been fun to post the pictures. It was cute.
You had great pictures.
I was, chatting with a client of mine, and, the first hotel that we stayed at, the Adare Manor. Spectacular. If you ever go to Ireland, stay at the Adare Manor.
I love that place.
Have Angela book it for you. You'll be glad you did. Even just booking it on your own. It was really nice to have you book it. But I posted that, and a couple of people have commented of, gosh, when we travel, we always do the Airbnbs, and there's times when we do that, right?
Yeah, and they're great.
When we go on certain vacations, we just want the VRBO because we want to spread out. But they're like, you know what, that looked really nice. We might have to try that version of travel next time. I said, yes, I highly recommend it.
Well, yeah, I think, and some people, maybe I could explain the value of having a personal
Absolutely.
advisor. I think overall, and you even expressed this to me, like sometimes it was a little bit scary that it might be a little bit more expensive to have an advisor. But in the long run, an advisor will save you time and money.
So much,
That should be the
definitely
case.
did in the case of our
And you
trip.
give your whoever you're working with, doesn't have to be me, but if you're working with someone, you give them your budget, and they should be able to work around that. And it's an education on both parts because you're learning about each other when it's new. But as time goes on, it just gets easier. You save time. To me is everything because time seems to be speeding up, and I can't get enough of it. There's not enough of it in the day. So any way I can save time, I'm always for it. So I think that's super valuable. And then depending on your advisor's affiliations, they can get you certain amenities that you couldn't otherwise get on your own. Also, because we maintain the relationships with all these different places around the world, when you book on your own, the service is still really good at places, but there's a relationship there with your advisor, and so sometimes when you book on your own, it's just like another number,
right.
But it can be a little bit more personalized when it's done through an agent, and we're working behind the scenes for you all the time. The 35 emails behind the scenes you don't see, the 10 phone calls on hold you don't know about. So it really is saving you a great deal of time, and there's a lot of personalization involved. So
absolutely, I can tell you. I mean, certainly every time we checked it, we stayed in 3 different hotels. Every time we checked in, we could tell it was different because we had booked with you. And I think I sent you a note. It was cute. We checked into one, and they had some little chocolates and some stuff for the kids. And our kids are big. You would think they wouldn't be that into it. They were so into it. It meant the world to them. So
I know they had the little stuffed animals you said, and I was like, oh man, they're teenagers.
They thought it was adorable.
I was like, okay.
They thought it was really cute.
Yeah, and I meant to ask you about the archery and falconry and but I loved the pictures because one of your sons had a big smile and one was like, oh, with the big birds. So those pictures were great.
Yeah, we had a really fantastic time. So thank you for putting all of that together.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I know you work with different budgets. You have booked trips all over the world.
Yeah.
You can do little couples things, family things, whatever it is.
Everything, yeah.
You can do that.
Done 46-day cruises. We do everything from cruises, hotel bookings. I have a couple of CEOs that are clients, and they just call and say, I need to be in Atlanta tomorrow at this, and I need to be able to reach this place, put me somewhere close to it. It's as simple as that. I have some clients that say, we have this week free. Tell us where to go. Or we have, I work with someone who's like, we really want to go to this place and have this sort of experience, and I want to work really closely with you on the itinerary and every day what we're going to be doing. So everyone's really different, but each scenario is really fun.
That's great.
To be part of, yeah.
Very fun. Cool. Let's chat about your retreats.
Okay.
That you've got coming up, because I know that's a big passion of yours too. Travel or planning travel for other people, but you also put on some spectacular wellness retreats.
Well, the last one I led was the one you were actually on, and it was it was in October 2017.
Sure.
And I moved to New York, and so it took me. This is the first one that I'm leading since then, because after the move, I just had to get situated. But what I love about it, and using the one that you were on as an example, is that we kind of bond as a family towards the end after a week.
We really did.
You get those one-liners, everyone's cracking jokes, everyone, has a good laugh. And and I keep them more intimate. I've been on a lot of retreats, and I've been on some that, had 16 people, 25 people, to even 40 people. And for me, I was trying to find something that I felt wasn't out there yet, and I wanted mine to be a little bit more high-end luxury and more intimate.
Sure.
Because the dynamic changes, the bigger it gets. Not to say it isn't great. I've had all great experience with big retreats, but this I wanted, to create a different feel. And so, we start by, I incorporate yoga in the morning, and that's just because long day of travel usually to get to.
It was great.
Yeah, to one place, and like for Bali there were 2 flights, and so it's a long day of traveling. And so I think the yoga just really is to allow people to really focus in on their breath, get grounded, and kind of like twist and stretch, and after being in a seat for so long. And then I just think that makes people more receptive to take in everything that's going to be happening during the week around them. So we start every morning with yoga, and then we go on an excursion every day. And I love this because I get to show you a beautiful part of the world that I've experienced, and I get to share that with you, and that's really fun. And then we just eat delicious foods. We get to know each other. We share great stories, and we have a lot of fun. When we stayed in the Amalfi Coast, I thought it was that the day we got the yacht and we went
that
out
was so fun
to Capri, and
that was spectacular.
That was really fun. I mean, I was actually surprised that just about everybody went into the Green Grottos and swam through the cave.
We did.
Yeah, and that was I was.
You didn't think they would do that?
I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh.
I remember you getting in, and I don't know how you did
I did it without getting my hair wet.
I
was the master.
Everybody was diving in and jumping and screaming, and Nicole gracefully lowers herself, gracefully swims through the cave. She gets out of the water, climbs onto the boat. Hair is perfect. I don't know how you did it.
I was having a good hair day.
Yeah.
I needed to
You always have a good hair day, and I know why. But it was amazing. But yeah, I didn't expect everybody, just for everybody to get it. One or two
I think,
people.
one gal was claustrophobic, and she's like, because you got to kind of go through the cave, and she's like, I'll see you on the other side.
Yeah. But that was
that was fun.
Super fun.
Yeah.
And we went to the beach club. Not that we were like, we went there for the restaurant, but it was a beach club that you could only access by boat. And
that I never knew existed. It was so fun.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of fun little treat. So little secrets here and there.
You work lots of great surprises into your events, which is great.
Yeah, so this one is coming up is October 5th through the 10th of this year, and it's going to be in the south of France. We're staying at the absolute beautiful Capistel.
Okay.
And it's just a lovely, lovely property, and we'll all meet on that first day and start with a welcome dinner that night at a 1 Michelin star with a group dinner.
Oh, fun.
And breakfast is included and lunch is included. Every day we'll have lunch out on our excursions, and we have yoga included in the morning. And so
that's great. You're a fantastic yoga instructor, by the way. I know we all loved that when we did the Amalfi Coast retreat, because it was nice to get up and get moving, and we had the full spectrum of lots of yoga, no yoga.
And then we all went to breakfast together, which was kind of nice. It was kind of fun to do together. And everyone's jet lagged anyway, so people are like, oh, that's kind of, is that going to be really early? I'm like, I have a feeling you're going to be up anyways.
Yes, I can't remember the time, but I do remember it was very early. And
we would
really?
go at like 7 o'clock in the morning, I think. And then we had breakfast at 8. It depended on when the excursion was. I would always push back the yoga if the excursion was later. But, if we had a full day excursion ahead of us, like we had to go to, we went to Pompeii one day.
Yes,
and
that was fun.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I know.
And that was the group wanted to go.
Yeah.
And so that was planned by you guys, actually.
Yeah.
So.
And we did. It was a great group dynamic. We all, everybody kind of came with a friend, but we didn't know everybody else in the group, but we all bonded.
Yeah, usually everyone brings one person, because you'll share a room with somebody. And then you go back, and then you have all the stories, and you kind of, and we're still telling stories.
I know,
a few years later. So that's really nice.
Yeah. It sounds like an amazing trip. If anybody is out there thinking, it's freezing cold outside, a trip to the south of France sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
How can they find out more?
You can go to AZA Luxury Travel, and that's AZA luxurytravel.com. And there's in the subtitles there's a place for retreats, and you just you'll find one that says as EZE.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, as a side note, back to our Ireland trip, one of the fun things is to just, once you form a relationship with a travel person, is to trust them. It was so funny, you know, when you booked us at the Adare, those first 2 nights you booked dinner reservations for us at 9 p.m. I'm like, have you met us?
No,
We're like 5:30.
That's 4:30 sometimes. So.
But I thought, no, Angela booked it. I'll trust her. We'll just roll with it and see what happens. It was actually the best thing ever.
Did it work out? Okay.
It worked out great because we got there and we were kind of tired and we all took a nap.
Oh, good. Okay.
And then we got up and we went to dinner later. The restaurant was packed, by the way. I thought we're going to be the only people in this place. It was packed.
Yeah, you're always late.
But I think it helped with the jet lag.
Did it?
Because
Okay,
we got to experience more because we were up and around later, so we got to experience a different part of just being in Ireland. And but I think it helped a lot with the jet lag because we would take a little nap and then we go to dinner later, which then we slept through the night better. So
that's great.
it was great. It was really fun, but it was one of those going into it. I thought, well, I don't know how we're going to do it 9 o'clock for dinner.
Well, you know, there have been times where I traveled to Europe. Spain in particular is even later than France.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, I could do dinner at 6, and nothing's open for
Right.
dinner. It's just, or you know, you go at a certain time and nothing's open because there's siesta, and I'm like, okay, when in Rome, then you know, you kind of adapt and figure it out. But yeah.
So thank you for that nudge to kind of shift things a little bit. It actually worked out great for dinner, but then I really do think it helped with the jet lag a lot.
I'm glad.
So you have to trust your travel advisor as well.
Oh, it's good. Sound advice.
What are some of the other places that you either have been to or you've booked for some people that are kind of different and maybe not on everybody's radar, but you're thinking, you know, you might want to think about this for your next vacation?
Well, I was going to say Antarctica, but no, that's not for everyone.
That looked really neat, though. I saw your pictures.
Yeah, so, well, Antarctica is I've been to all 7 continents. Antarctica is usually a bucket list item, and it's for people who have really traveled the world, and they're like, where haven't I been? Oh, that 7th continent. Yeah, so it's fascinating. So if you're adventurous and you feel like you're missing, you know, something that, you know, you want to try something absolutely different and new, you can do Antarctica. There's multiple ways to go about doing that. You know, one of the other places that I led a retreat in Bali, and I've been there 6 or 7 times, and it's one of those places that I fell in love with. And I explain it as, you know, it's kind of like Hawaii. You get off the plane and everything kind of melts away because you feel that aloha vibe kind of just sink right in. And Bali is like that. And the majority of maybe it's that Hindu vibe.
Sure.
I don't know, but the people there are super happy, super welcoming. Just the food's amazing, and for such a small area, it has so much to offer as far as the landscape. You can be deep in the jungle, and you see volcanoes. And you can go for like those those hikes up to the volcano. Then you can go out to the coast. There's the cliffs in Uluwatu. You can go to the beaches of Seminyak. You can go surfing. You can go shopping. I mean,
really?
Yeah, there's all sorts of
amazing.
things to do. You can go out to the Gillies, the islands, and there's great diving as well. Europe, I went to it. It's really
I know,
hard.
it's a long list.
Some historical places. I mean, if you haven't been to Normandy or World War II, if you have anyone in your family that's interested in that, highly recommend.
Oh, interesting.
That's a fascinating trip to bring, you know, your parents or anyone who's interested in that part of history. Actually, everyone should be, but that's a pretty moving and interesting experience. You know, South America, Machu Picchu. I want to take my kids to Machu Picchu.
Really?
Yes. You know, you don't know how you're gonna. It's at a high elevation when if you're going into Cusco. That's around, like, I believe, like around 11,000. You go through the Sacred Valley. By the time you get to Machu Picchu, you go down a little bit, but the elevation is something to consider. But gosh, if you can get there, that is quite the experience. It's you marvel,
Really?
yeah, of how these ancient people decided to build this civilization in this place. It's magnificent. The Galapagos. If you're into wildlife and
That's on my
also
list. I've heard that's amazing.
the best beach, Tortugo Beach, is the most beautiful beach I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've been to a lot of beaches. That was the most stunning. It's where I was swimming in a gulf, and we all had to quickly. I mean, it was a really secluded beach, not too many people, but people started exiting the gulf. There was a bull shark. So there's a lot of wildlife around. I saw hammerhead sharks there that were mating.
You didn't try to take it on? You're fierce, girl. I'd be like, me and you, mano a mano.
Yeah.
We're doing
Angela
this.
would win.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that's my boy.
I do like to bite every now and then.
I knew it.
That's a beautiful place. If you're really into nature and wildlife and sea life, amazing. Gosh, there's so many places. The Maldives, India I went to.
Your pictures looked great.
Taj Mahal. For me, that I've heard two scenarios. Taj Mahal, like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then some people are like, And the people who were like, I couldn't believe it, because for me, my personal experience was, this is something I'd seen in so many magazines and postcards, and when you see it, it just takes your breath away, because it looks like an actual painting.
That's amazing.
And you can't believe that you're actually there witnessing it after having seen it just in photos. And it's just a beautiful temple. And then when you learn of the history and the effort that it took to build, the labor of love of that temple was incredible.
That's
amazing. Also one of so many moments.
That's great.
That I hope
so
everyone
many
else
great
can have.
places to
Yeah.
see. All right, we've had Angela with AZA Luxury Travel, AZA Luxury Travel, on the show with us today. We'll have everything on the website after the show, NicoleMangina.com/podcast. And there might be a trip to France in the south of France in your future. Check out our website. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you next week.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.